Hey everyone, Sean Stringham here with Game On Live Studio. We are super psyched. Thanks for being part of the Game On Live Studio team. We are going to send you through a setup of an OBS system so that you can kind of get an idea, so that you know how to, if you end up needing to set up and or if you need to kind of manage a setup, you can do that. The first thing that you walk in on site is you're always going to find the right place for your table. Hopefully they'll have a table for you. And you always want to try to think throughout the day to have that sun go behind your back. Worst thing you want to do is get into the games at the end of the day and just be staring into the black hole of the bright sun. After that, you come in, the first two problems you're going to solve for. First is power, and the second is internet. So for our setup here today, we've got everything over here that is going to be set up, and it's going to be nice and crisp. But we have power coming through here, so power will start, and I generally like to run power over to the left side of the table. And before we even do that, I'm going to forego it today, but you're going to want to put the Game On Live Studio tablecloth over. We're going to not do that today just for sake of time. So you have your gaff tape, and with your gaff tape, generally I have learned the hard lesson that you don't want your power, I need to be on this side, you don't want your power to be on the pool deck because there's water on a pool deck, right? So as it comes in, I generally will tape that down so that it's ready and won't fall down onto the pool deck. Since we're solving for power first, next step is going to be, where are our power strips? I usually like to put one for the announcing computer and some various things that we're going to have on this side. So as that comes through, you can plug that in. We'll get you some power. Red light turns on. That's a good sign. And I, again, want to make sure that stays on my table nice and clean. So I'll tape that down, and that usually will do the trick. Each set's going to have 2 power strips just to make sure that your life is a little bit easier. And we'll put the second power strip down on this corner here.
Lost the overhead camera. Probably that. Oh, unless it's powered off. That's hilarious. Oh, is it plugged in? It might not be plugged in.
It is not plugged in, but we can plug it in here shortly.
That is why. That's hilarious that I didn't plug that camera in.
So we are gonna have our second cords here, and you generally want to try to manage your cords so it doesn't look like it's just a mess in front there.
Like, where did it go?
All right, so now we've created our power opportunities as it comes through on our table.
Camera on. Sorry. Good
We need to start again.
Good start. No, that's good.
All right. So those are set and ready to go and are not going to move. So now once we have solved for power, we have power. We're going to bring in internet. So coming in, we've got our internet cable, usually a Cat5 cable that's going to go into the computer. We're going to hold that set, but we're going to get our computer set up next. So as we come to the computer, I usually put the production on the left-hand side. It's not critical, but it's nice. Just so that we have a sense, we'll put that in the middle of the desk. Find our power and bring that in. Manage your cords a little bit and get that plugged in. Once you have your computer plugged in, ready to go, you can start adding some accessories. Key things that are going to plug into the machine itself. First thing, let's all say it together, internet. Internet rules the world, right? So we're going to take our internet cable here, and it's going to go onto the left side of our laptop, and there's going to be a plug that will go directly into the laptop for you. From there, you also have the hard drive. And the hard drive is going to go into this USB connector. That's going to be one of these two. We'll choose this one closest to the HDMI out. I'm going to plug in this content stream HDMI 1. If you have an external monitor, that will be your external monitor, and you'll just plug that in to the HDMI port on that side. Coming up next, I like to put the hard drive as you come through behind the computer, just so it's kind of out of the way and not going to get bumped. You can see, just can slide it back down underneath in there. Other accessories that you're going to connect to this machine running OBS is a Stream Deck. These are awesome and going to make your life so nice. I like to run Stream Deck with my left hand, so I'm going to put that on that side, bring the cord around over and put it into this additional this additional USB coming through over here. Okay, coming up next, so we have our computer set with the Stream Deck set there. You can see that the Stream Deck buttons that we're going to talk about have popped up. Let's get our audio set next. As a producer, I like to control my audio with my right hand. So that's going to come up and will be right here next to me as I'm setting up that. We'll take the power for audio. Audio, which is a Yamaha brand there. You can see that. That can just plug in right here with your near side, the power here in the middle of your table. That'll be similar. And then you're going to have your audio out. So you'll have your audio out, which will have a red and a white. Just always remember, red is right, R&R, white is left. All right, red goes into the right side, white goes into the left side.
Of that blue section.
Of the blue section here for your mixer. And then, Jonas, if you can hand me a USB-C adapter, please. Just one of the silver ones in that other box. One box to your left. Yep. So then you're going to take your audio, and I'm going to take the Stream Deck, since it's on the left-hand side, and put that over here with the audio adapter into the USB-C. We can plug that in. Give yourself an extra port on that side. My bad on that, sorry. And then we're going to take this USB-A port that's coming directly out of the mixer and plug that into the remaining USB.
Put that into the... you may want into the adapter, because your capture card is going to go into, you may want the capture card directly into the computer, into that USB-A.
Okay.
I think that's a little bit safer to have your hard drive and your camera directly into the computer. Probably.
So audio is going to go into the adapter here, as well as Stream Deck, and those things will control through this adapter that comes in through. And then we're going to put the HDMI out. Goes into there. Sorry for a little of the confusion on that one. Next thing coming out of your computer is going to be your producer headphones, because we want you to make sure you hear what we have coming out of the stream. And then finally, let's start setting up some of our audio. So with the audio, you'll have an XLR cable, which has those two inputs and outputs. So into the ambient audio, which is going to be the sound picked up of the chorus and whistles and all of that, that's always going to go in line 2. And why is it important that we do the same thing everywhere? So that if you have questions or you're having troubles, when you call or text our support lines, that they can say that we can make sure that we kind of start with the same setup. Coming up next from the audio is we're going to put together our mic stand. We have got a couple of different kinds of mic stands. They're both pretty simple. This one's just going to roll. Oh, sorry about that. A little rusty. Put that in. We'll pull one of our mics out of our case. And that's just going to plug into the other side of that. We'll come through here, and then we'll have our audio. Generally, this mic is going to be down on the ground, picking up that audio from the pool deck, and the water sounds and all those kinds of things. Next piece we have coming up with audio is the production headset. And so this is every set, every group now should have a full broadcast headset with a microphone and headphones. So this is what the announcer is going to use to be able to send your lively commentary to the rest of the world. Simply plug that into the XLR line 1, because audio announcers always line 1, and the phones will go into that phone line. You may want to just hold up that mix board just a little bit closer, and then just talk through that once that's done. So in a mix board, you have a couple of different pieces. You have line 1, and this line controls all of everything coming into that individual line. Line 2 are all of the controls that are coming in from this microphone that we put into line 2. And then these 2 are the audio that's connecting back into the OBS software. And then this is the headphones. The only other thing that you might use is if you're going to have a line out for outside audio, and we can talk through that a little bit in a minute. In terms of setting up audio, again, a couple of the things you want to choose, make sure that these buttons are out. They are coming out. You have a gain, and then you have an overall volume. You have a red master volume, and then you have a headphones volume. You want to start with the individual microphones, start with the gain, just over a little bit over half. The gain will control the sensitivity of the mic, and this will control the overall volume of the mic. All right. As that comes in, it's going to feed into that main and will control both. So if for some reason you need to cut audio immediately, you can just turn down red. But generally, I like to turn down the announcer if they're not talking, so that we can still get ambient noise, unless you have a referee or an athlete or someone, or you have random cursing coming your way. You just kind of have to monitor that. The last thing is that coming out here of audio, you will have a line that could go to a laptop that could run epidemic sound, so we could have some background music happening at the same time. And we'll talk about that when we get more specific audio stuff. So that's a good setup for the audio controls as that comes in. Next step is going to be setting up your camera. So how do we make this all come together? Well, you're going to have 2 cameras in every one of these sets. You're going to have one that is going to be the main cam, which we call the main cam. The second is going to be the timer cam. So the main cam is going to capture the main action going back and forth in the pool. The second is going to be just focused in likely on a clock, game clock and shot clock, if those apply, that you're going to use in the OBS to be able to put that up. So let's talk a little bit about how to set up the camera. Same thing, you're going to start with the base, and that's just going to be a tripod. Jonas, can you get me a tripod that has... This one doesn't have a head. I think it's in the bag still there. All right, so all of the tripods that you see are going to be these umbrella types, since they're light and easy to pack. It's a couple of different easy ways to do that. The first thing that you're going to do is make sure that this knob right here is open, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, and that will allow you to open that tripod, right? So as it comes down, it'll get nice and wide, and you can open that up. And then you have the knobs on the side here that will allow you to extend that up to a point where, thank you, where you can make it so it's manageable. This tripod is going to be, we're going to set up the main cam first, and this tripod is going to be probably anywhere from 9 to 10 feet in the air. So, but it's easier to set it up here when it's eye level as you come through that. Again, everything starts with power. So we have our foundation. Next thing we're going to do is build our camera base. And so we have a you'll have a long extension cord in your kit that you're going to use. It's a 50-foot extension cord, and that you're going to use to go and find power on the deck somewhere. Then you're going to have a 20-foot extension cord that you're going to use to power the main cam with. And that 20-foot extension cord is designed because this is going to be 10 to 15 feet. That gives you 10 to 15 feet high, and then the opportunity to kind of be within the center of this course. This main camera is going to be right on center of the pool, so that when you pan that camera back and forth, that it's going to be in the right spot. So as I set up the camera, what I like to do is, again, I'm just going to take my 20-foot extension cord, small piece of tape, put it around, put that and tape that to the top of the tripod here. Next thing is you're going to have these tripods, and these are actually going to not have this piece on them. You'll just have right here where you're going to have the top of the tripod is going to screw. Whoop, that's not great visual, but it's going to screw right here onto the top of this. Again, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. One thing that you're going to want is on the side, there's a knob that's going to loosen that tripod, which is going to give us that mount to be able to put on the bottom of the camera. So on my main cam that I'm going to use here, excuse me, you have a hole that will accept the screw here, and you're going to just essentially tighten that in there. You don't need to kill it, tighten it, but you do need to make it, oh, go back. I am setting this up as a timer cam. What we're going to want to do, even everyone makes mistakes, is we're going to want to set up our panner. Our panner goes in the very colorful bags that we have collected from all of our travels around the world, just to kind of help keep those wires and cords separate. And what the panner does is allow us to move that back and forth at the top of that 10 to 13 foot tripod. Okay, so let's try that again. Instead of putting that on the camera, my bad, you're going to put that on the bottom of the panner. Now, notice when you set up the panner, you're going to screw that tripod in there, but this second hole is a clue. That's going to tell you where the center is. So if this were plugged in, this was unplugged where it wasn't straight, we're going to want that screw to be lined up. Doesn't matter, but just be aware as you are getting set up, you'll screw this in. Remember kind of the general angle. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it is nice to make it so you get it settled in there, and you want to try to sink that in there because this will come loose. You want to be careful with that. And now we're going to put that on top of our tripod. Tighten that down. And that should give us, just kind of make sure that those are all tight on there and ready to go. Next piece coming out of our panner is the power, and that will plug into the front side of this. So that power is going to be on the right front side of the device. Plug that into the extension, plug that into the splitter. The extension cord that you use for your camera, you're going to plug in close to this front strip. Doesn't have to be in that specific plug, but that will get power to this. And once you have that power, and I'll try to tip this so you can see it, you're going to get a green light. You want this to be set to manual, power on, and 0 degrees there. You'll get that green light and we'll be ready to go. We'll set that back up here. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for. We're going to take our camera and we'll sync that on top of the panner here. So we just took, and on the top of the panner, we screwed that in and made the camera so that it was in line with the panner head, okay? All right, next, let's grab the power for the camera. That's gonna go in the side of the camera here on this top right-hand side. Plug that in, and then that can be plugged into that can be plugged in. We should get power, comes up there. And next will be the panner control cable. There's going to be two types of panner controls. There's going to be one that's wired, but then we're also going to have probably 8 or 9, about half of our stock that's going to be wireless. So those will come paired and be ready to go. So you won't have to plug anything in, but this specific example is one that you are going to need to wire. So
Do you want to talk through details up close of what everything is up there? I've got you tight now.
Yep. And then next piece is going to be this remote socket. We'll plug that in and we'll turn this around so that you can see all of those. So on the panner, which should pan now. Yeah, it's panning. Fantastic news. Power comes in right here, comes out and into the power source. Okay, we've shown that already. Then I will turn the camera this way a little bit so that you can see. Power for the camera comes in. There are two holes here. It's the one that matches. All right, so take it, goes in the front power pan right in there. Okay, that's for this specific model. You have different power places for each cameras. We have 3 or 4 different cameras that we're using on that. All right, if we continue to rotate here so that you can see what's happening on the back of the camera. There you go. This is where the power socket comes in to the remote socket comes in. You want to make sure that you line up the pins, right? So that we don't bend those pins. Those pins come in. Green light means we got power. Manual, so that we have control of that. And now as we come through, what's going to happen? We can rotate that back around. It's a nicely managed camera. And so if we come up and we have our panner control, whoop, there we go, panner control. And as we move that, that will move that panner left and right and up and down. So that's your main camera control. On here, there's a speed control. If you are slow to, sometimes this will move faster. For water polo, you can do kind of catch up. And as a good producer, you're going to be able to move that to find where you need that in terms of pushing the overall panning and scanning back and forth. Okay, great. Next big thing for the camera is connecting it with the HDMI. We're gonna go right here. Jonas, I'm gonna need an HDMI micro connection out of that bag right there, if you don't mind. The one, yep, perfect. All right, so you're gonna have 2 HDMI cables, one that's 25 feet long, one that is 10 feet long. You're gonna use the longer one, the 25-foot one, just one of the short ones that's the adapter for the HDMI. So you're going to use the longer cord that's going to connect directly into the computer. So that you'll have this adapter, which we call a capture card. No, capture card right here. Right. Let's see if I can get there. There we go. So that's going to come plug directly into the HDMI cable, and that will come on the computer end and connect directly into this port right here. Okay. The other end of that is going to get me in that bag right there. The other bag. Turn it. So this is the HDMI video capture card. So that's taking the HDMI cable coming in and transferring that into USB. Okay, but I need the adapter. Hand me the... So here is the video adapter, and you will have the appropriate, you want this to throw here? You'll have the appropriate adapter generally taped to the side of the camera. This is a critical piece. Without this little thing, the whole stream goes poorly because you have no way to connect the camera. So you're going to run the camera side of the HDMI cable through this adapter in there, right? And then that's going to go into the HDMI side, HDMI micro. That will put that in there, and we will have connection. Now, because I'm not a monster and I like my cables to be nice and organized and not spread all over the place, what I like to do is once I have all of my cables up, it's also very good for your camera to have those have a little bit of play in them. So I'll take that and just put a little piece of gaff tape around that so that it allows you to keep those without any tension on them. Okay, so once you have that set, we'll be ready to go. And remember how I talked about getting our cameras settled, and in the front on this camera there's a lot of kind of individual details. We're going to want to move that around until it is facing forward and lined up exactly with the tripod. This is going to make your life so much easier. And in fact, I'm going to take this HDMI cable and wrap it around this back side instead of that front side. In terms of balancing and leveling out the camera, that's going to put you in a situation that really is better. So now that it's balanced and straightforward, we can really make sure that we can go to the right to cap the right cage and then back to the left to capture the left cage, right? We want to make sure that that's all the way through. Okay, great. Now, let's run through. I think we have everything set up except for you're going to set up the timer camera the exact same way, but you're going to we'll set up a timer camera, but not set it up on the tripod just to save time. It's exactly the same setup, but it's going to be on a shorter tripod. It's going to be on a 6 to 10 foot tripod instead of an 8 to 13 foot tripod. And it's going to be closer to you as a producer because I can guarantee someone's going to bump the clock or the scoreboard or the clock or something that you might have. So this camera setup, if I were at a pool getting ready to go, is going to be on the other side of the table, right? We're not going to put it behind us or between the announcer. We've just put it here to be able to capture for the training, but you're going to want to have it close to the table in the center of the course. And just be firm. Like the camera's going in the center of the course. That's what we're there for. That's what people want. That's what people have paid us to do. So sometimes some people get a little bit fussy with that, but we'll be fine. All right, so let's go ahead and set up OBS and capture. Are we ready for that, Trevor? Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks for joining us here from Studio 13. All right, so I'm going to sit and we're going to slide some stuff there so we can get the camera in a position that you can see. All right, so as you come in, the laptop is set up. We've got, just as a review, We've got audio. We've got the HDMI capture card coming from the main camera. We've got the hard drive coming through that we've hidden behind there. We've got an external monitor if we want to send that. If we have those and we'll use those, you'll send that to the external monitor. We've got our internet coming in. We've got our power coming in, and then we have an adapter that has our audio coming in as well as our Stream Deck. Okay, we'll have one more open port that we're going to use to put our timer cam in there so that we can access that and make sure that's up. Jonas, will you set up that timer cam off here so we can just plug it in when it's ready, please? All right, so coming up, we are going to just start up the computer. Real easy. The pin for, you're going to see tech@gols.co, and the pin for that is GOLS, just like you would have it on your phone. So those numbers are 4657. That's going to open everything up for you. And now we've got our OBS set up. We had it open before, so we were cheating a little bit, but let's go through and work through the things that you're going to need to open. All right. So as it comes into your screen, you're going to have 3 or 4 key things open at the same time. The first thing is going to be OBS. All right. That's going to be the main source for running and controlling the stream. All right. So that's going to be your main production studio. Then you're going to have Stream Deck. Stream Deck is going to be your tool, external tool that we're going to use to change the score, to do replays, to do some different inputs things, and we'll go through that. And then we have the telescore, which is going to be your on-screen scoreboard that you're going to use. You'll use the Stream Deck to be able to control that up, back, and forth in terms of the score as in the period. So let's start, and then we'll have Google Chrome. Game On Live Studio uses Chrome because we're not monsters. All right. Once you have those 4 up and running, you're going to want to start with OBS. So this will all be set up for you, and it will save from. It will save.
You're good.
In the right place with you. In the right place with you.
Came for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, if they pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in, I get it in, I get it in. Came for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, if they pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in, I get it in, I get it in. I'm on my job, I get it done, but you should know that. Shine like a sun, a 101, you should know that. I get the front and in the back, you should know that. No need to stun, it's never cap, you should know that. All I know, 10 toes, never fold, bang roll, on the go, ice wall, ice wall, ice wall. Came for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, if they pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in, I get it in, I get it in. Came for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, if they pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in, I get it in, I get it in. I miss my baby, so I hit them on the FaceTime. I need it all for them, so no, I cannot waste time. Facing these oceans, feel the water on my waistline. We trust the process and I only know it takes time. You can get it, got no worries, I'm gon' make mine. Going global, I'ma get it out the state lines. Paying taxes at a more than what you make now. Different bracket, eating off a different plate now. For my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, if they pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in, I get it in, I get it in. Came for my wins, I need my hands. This life is real, if they pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in, I get it in, I get it in.
Okay, so the 4 programs that you're going to have open, you're going to have OBS, you're going to have Telescore, you're going to have Stream Deck, and you're going to have Google Chrome. All right. So let's go ahead and start with OBS. We're going to open up OBS, and you can see I've already got that. It's got me in on the OBS feed. Well, that's not going to do much good because no one really wants to sit and watch you while the game is going on. So let's go ahead and connect the main cam first. In OBS, you have your scenes that are over here and your sources. Scenes are supported, our sources support the individual scenes. So inputs is going to be your main cam input that's going to come into that. So you're going to click on inputs. You're going to come over as the producer and double click on that main cam. All right. So we have some choices here between this well, the only thing we have plugged in right now is the integrated webcam. So let's go ahead and connect our main cam, and you can kind of see what that's going to look like. So with that, you're going to take your long HDMI cable. You're going to have a 25-foot HDMI cable and a 10-foot HDMI cable in your kit. And the 25-foot is obviously going to be on that main cam because we're going to take it 10 to 13 feet in the air, and we're going to have some play to be able to get it to wherever the desk might be. So once you have that plugged in, you're going to have this HDMI video capture, and I believe we already talked about this once before, but this HDMI video capture cord is going to come in through this USB connector, and it's going to go into the USB port on the right-hand side of the computer. The other end of this cable, we're going to run that down, is going to go into the side of the HDMI port that's going to come in. And so I don't know which camera you're going to take me to, Trevor, but we'll go ahead and plug that in. And this is going to look a little bit, this is going to, there's a couple of different versions of these, but the thing is that it's going to connect here into the main cam, and it's going to come out, and you're going to have a micro. This is a good teaching moment. You have a micro or small HDMI output, or you have a mini HDMI output. Depending on the camera, you're going to have to make that match and use your memory skills that you put together when you were 5 to make that happen. So that is going to go into HDMI. Again, sometimes these can be a little bit fussy. So you want to make sure that there's no pressure on that connection, or it will disconnect in the middle of your game. Then people will yell at you in the chat, and no one's happy. All right, so now the camera's on. Power's on. We've got screen in the viewfinder. We've got our HDMI cord connected in to our laptop. We should be good to go. We're going to check to see if we have that camera. So we're going to go back to main cam, double click on that, come back to integrated webcam, this device that we're going to pull down. It comes in, and there's our USB video. Capture that, and there's Trevor. Say hi, Trevor.
What's up,
Hey,
guys?
there's the van in the background and a beautiful June day here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Live from the Studio 13. So we're going to choose that as okay. And now, great news. We have our camera. Depending on the size, you're going to want to make sure that fills that entire screen with that red. Oh, that's the overlay. We're going to make sure that we're going to grab the camera. There we go. Maybe. And pull that over so it shows the entire screen. And then we have the overlay that's going to fit in that side. All right, so that looks pretty good. And so now notice as we build here in OBS, main cam is on the very bottom. That's your base layer. Overlay is going to be, and I shouldn't have adjusted that, overlay is going to be your timer, the timing system, and then the mic aux is going to be there. So those are going to be the key things. And this is going to be set up where you're going to have the main cam will have these individual logos on there as well. So you'll be able to play around with those. But the overlay is this scene that we've laid in here, which is going to be your timing system and your scorecard. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead. We've got our camera set up here. Let's go to overlay. So now in overlay, what's going to happen is that we have taken we we have a couple of different scoreboards in here. We have this future and goals logo, and those are going to be in this main input scene. We have timer and then the local scoreboard. So let's make sure that our scoreboard is up and running. We've got that live here, and we're ready to go. We've got the Super Finals logo, the period, light dark, and then our overall score. In this box, what's going to happen is that we are going to plug in the camcorder that is pointing at the shot clock. So hopefully you can get the game clock and the shot clock. If they don't have the blue Colorados and you can just get game clock, you might have to be creative in terms of pointing that at the scoreboards, because that's going to be the way in this setup that we're going to get that scoreboard or that time into the stream. And you can resize that anyway. So that's a really nice feature as well. There we go. So now we opened that up, that timer, and it popped up here. And so now you can see in this, we can go live. We can go and display this. And you can see that's what your stream is going to look like, right? Now, it's funny because we have this, we need to update this other camera. But we've got these logos, and this will be nice and clean. We're going to clean up that logo before we send it out to you. And there's a good look again at Trevor and the driveway. All right, so let's set up the overlay camera. So that's the timer cam here. We come here, we have the USB video. Now we have one USB video that's not being directed anywhere. So let's go ahead and plug that in. So we've got our timer camera. You're gonna have two cameras in every set. One is your main cam, and that's generally bigger. Let's go to that, Trevor. Here's your main cam, and then you're going to have a little timer cam. You're going to have two tripods. You're going to set them up the same way. Generally, you're going to set that timer cam up somewhere close to you, Mr. or Mrs. Producer, so that you are ready to go. It's not going to be too terribly different here. You're going to take I'm not going to go through how to set up the power on another tripod because we've already done that. You're going to do it exactly the same way. But we're going to find power for this little mini cam. And that HDMI, as it comes through, HDMI capture card, so you have two HDMI capture cards, is going to go into the dongle that's attached during the USB-C, okay? And then that will come through and connect to your mini cam, timer cam. All right. So now that we have that, we've got our timer cam, and we're going to set that, where are we going to set that on? We'll set that right here on, ironically, this. You'll like this. I think this will be fun to get an insight. See if I can get that to balance right there. Somewhat. All else fails, tape it down, right? But this will be a good learning experience. All right, so we have our timer cam rolling there. Let's go ahead and take it, switch out. Notice I'm switching to one cam, so it's going to reopen the signal. That's going to come up. And cancel that. Try again. There it is. That is still working, right? Yeah, we still have the main cam. There's Trevor. Overlay, timer cam. Are they plugged in? Gotta. Mostly the USBs. I think that USB.
I think that USB you're on right now is the I think that is the main camera. So I think you're want the color bars one. The color bars one is recognizing that it's plugged in, just not showing you any video, I believe.
We're gonna edit all this out, right?
Yeah.
We'll be right back. Pause.